Ladies, have you ever shared your heart with someone only to regret it later? Maybe you trusted a friend, a co-worker, or even a family member, and before you knew it, your private pain had become public knowledge. Awesome. It's a feeling we all know too well, the sting of misplaced trust, the weight of carrying a problem, and the frustration of realizing not everyone who listens actually cares. Today, I want to share with you a truth that can protect your dignity, your heart, and your peace. Don't tell people your problems. At least, not to everyone. Life is full of challenges, and sometimes the weight feels unbearable. But one of the most important lessons I've learned is this. Not every problem needs an audience. The truth is, not everyone cares, and not everyone should know. People have their own burdens, their own struggles, and while some may listen out of kindness, many listen out of curiosity. The more you speak of your struggles, the more you risk becoming the center of gossip rather than the receiver of genuine help. Your problems are not entertainment. They are a part of your personal life, something sacred. Protect them the way you protect your most valuable possessions. When you share your difficulties with the wrong people, you give them the power to shape how others see you. Too much complaining can make you appear weak, hopeless, or dependent, even if you are not. There is power in silence. A quiet resilience commands respect in a way endless complaints never will. Instead of telling everyone about your hardships, channel that energy into finding solutions. Seek advice from those who are truly capable of guiding you, not from those who will simply nod and forget your words the next day. Here, words the next day. Life will always test you, but not every test requires an audience. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to work in silence, endure with patience, and allow your progress to speak louder than your pain. So, the next time you feel the urge to share your struggles with everyone, pause. Remember that your peace is priceless, your privacy is power, and your strength is best revealed in action, not explanation. Privacy is one of the most valuable treasures you can own in life, yet it's often given away carelessly. Your personal life, your struggles, fears, and vulnerabilities is like a sacred space. When you allow just anyone to step into that space, you risk losing control over your own narrative. The value of privacy is not just about keeping secrets. It's about protecting your peace of mind. Every time you open up to the wrong person, you hand over a piece of yourself, sometimes a piece you can't get back. The truth is, once a problem leaves your mouth, you no longer own it. It can be repeated, twisted, misunderstood, or even used against you. Keeping certain matters private allows you to process them in your own time, without outside noise or judgment clouding your thoughts. It also helps you maintain your dignity in moments when you feel weak. Strength is not about telling the world what you're going through. Sometimes strength is about choosing silence and dealing with the storm quietly until you're ready to share, if you ever choose to share at all. When you protect your privacy, you're not being secretive, you're being wise. You're choosing to value yourself enough to set boundaries on who gets to know your deepest struggles. And in doing so, you create a safe space for your mind and heart to heal without interference. Not every ear deserves to hear your story, and not every shoulder is strong enough to carry the weight of your struggles. Selective sharing is about knowing who to trust with your personal matters and understanding that not everyone has the right intentions or the capacity to help you. When we speak without thinking, we often reveal our problems to people who are either unable or unwilling to provide real support. Some will listen simply to satisfy their curiosity. Others might pretend to care, but later use your words as casual conversation with someone else. That's how private matters become public drama. Being selective doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means being wise about where you invest your emotional energy. Ask yourself, will this person help me find a solution? Do they have the maturity to handle this information respectfully? Have they earned my trust over time? If the answer is no, keep your words to yourself. True support comes from people who genuinely want to see you grow, not from those who want to watch your struggle. By practicing selective sharing, you create a small circle of trusted individuals, people whose advice is constructive, whose intentions are pure, and whose loyalty is proven. Remember, your problems are not meant to be a public broadcast. They're meant to be shared only with those who can guide you toward resolution, not those who will merely nod and move on. The fewer people you involve, the fewer opinions, judgments, and distractions you'll have to deal with, allowing you to focus entirely on overcoming the challenge at hand. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you possess, and once it's drained, it's not easy to get back. Talking too much about your problems, especially to the wrong people, can silently rob you of that energy. Every time you retell a painful story, you relive the emotions that come with it: frustration, sadness, anger, or fear. This constant replay keeps you trapped in the problem instead of moving toward the solution. When you share your struggles widely, you invite a flood of responses, some helpful, but many unnecessary. Opinions, judgments, pity, and unsolicited advice can cloud your mind and pull your focus in different directions. Instead of feeling lighter, you may end up feeling more overwhelmed. This is because energy follows attention, and the more attention you give to your problems, the more space they occupy in your life. Protecting your energy means being intentional about where you place your thoughts and emotions. It's about understanding that not every feeling needs to be discussed, and not every struggle needs to be revisited repeatedly. Sometimes, the best way to handle a problem is to conserve your strength for actions that will actually make a difference. You can't control every challenge life throws your way, but you can control how much of your inner power you allow it to consume. By guarding your emotional space and limiting who has access to it, you preserve the clarity, motivation, and resilience needed to keep moving forward. It's easy to assume that others have the time, energy, and willingness to fully engage with your struggles, but the truth is, everyone is carrying something, some more visibly than others. The person you confide in might be smiling on the outside, but inside they could be dealing with their own storms, fears, and battles you know nothing about. Life is heavy for all of us in different ways. Someone may be facing financial stress, health concerns, family conflicts, or silent emotional wounds, and your problems, no matter how valid, might simply add to their emotional load. This doesn't mean they don't care. It means they're human, and their capacity is limited. When we expect people to listen, empathize, and invest deeply in our problems without considering their own struggles, we unintentionally place an extra weight on them. Sometimes, even those with the best intentions can only offer half-hearted attention because their minds are occupied with their own issues. Recognizing this reality allows us to be more considerate and self-aware. It helps us understand that while people may love and respect us, they can only give so much of themselves at any given time. It also teaches us not to rely solely on others for emotional relief, but to develop the ability to process, cope, and find strength within ourselves first. By remembering that everyone is fighting their own battles, whether seen or unseen, we learn to be more mindful in what we share, when we share it, and with whom we choose to open up. One of the hardest truths to accept is that not everyone cares about your problems. At least not in the way you hope they will. Some people might listen out of politeness, others out of curiosity, and a few simply because they enjoy knowing the struggles of others. Genuine concern is rare, and you can't expect it from everyone you talk to. The reality is, human nature often leans towards self-interest. Many people are more focused on their own lives, goals, and challenges than on the well-being of others. Your story might touch them for a moment, but it won't stay in their hearts the way it stays in yours. What may be a life-changing event for you could be just another piece of information for them, something they forget in a day or two. In some cases, people may even see your vulnerability as an opportunity to judge you, to gossip about you, or to subtly measure themselves against you and feel better about their own situation. This doesn't make them evil. It just reflects the reality that empathy is not equally distributed among all too all. Understanding that not everyone cares is freeing. It teaches you to be careful with your words and intentional about your audience. It reminds you to value your experiences enough to share them only with those who have proven their loyalty, compassion, and discretion over time. By accepting that some people simply aren't invested in your problems, you protect yourself from disappointment, misplaced trust, and the emotional drain of expecting empathy from the wrong places. When you share your problems with the wrong people, you risk turning your private struggles into public entertainment. What you confide in someone, thinking it's safe, can easily become the next topic they casually mention to a friend, who then tells someone else. Before you know it, your personal life becomes a story told and retold, often with details altered, exaggerated, or completely misunderstood. The danger here isn't just the spread of information, it's the loss of control over your own narrative. Once your words leave your mouth, you can't decide how they'll be repeated or in what tone. A moment of vulnerability can quickly be twisted into a tale that makes you look weak, irresponsible, or even foolish. Gossip thrives on drama, and personal problems provide the perfect fuel. People rarely repeat the part where you're working hard to fix the issue. They focus on the parts that stir emotion, spark curiosity, or invite judgment. This is how reputations are shaped, sometimes unfairly based on incomplete or distorted truths. Avoiding gossip doesn't just protect your dignity, it protects your mental health. When you keep your challenges within a trusted small circle, you limit the opportunities for your words to be used against you. This also helps you maintain a sense of control over your life story, allowing you to share only when and how you choose. Being mindful about who you open up to is not paranoia, it's self-respect. It's about understanding that once a problem becomes public property, it rarely benefits you. Instead, it can follow you, define you, and sometimes even overshadow your progress. The way people perceive you can influence almost every aspect of your life, your relationships, your opportunities, and even the level of respect you receive. Your image is shaped not only by what you do, but also by what you say. When you constantly talk about your problems, even if your intention is simply to share or seek comfort, you can unintentionally create an image of yourself as someone who is always struggling, complaining, or unable to cope. People often remember the patterns they see in others. If every interaction with you is centered around hardship, they may begin to associate you only with difficulty and negativity. This perception can affect how they interact with you, how much they trust you with responsibilities, and whether they see you as strong or fragile. It's not that you should hide your humanity. Everyone has challenges, but balance is key. You want to be known as someone who faces challenges with resilience, not someone defined by them. The image you project can determine the opportunities you receive. Employers, friends, and even potential partners may hesitate to engage deeply with someone they perceive as emotionally drained or constantly overwhelmed. Protecting your image doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means being intentional about the version of yourself you present to the world. Choose to show the parts of you that reflect strength, growth, and determination more than the parts that reflect defeat. When people see you as capable, composed, and forward-moving, they are more likely to support and respect you, even if they don't know every detail of what you've been through. When you face a problem, it's tempting to seek out people who will comfort you, tell you it's not your fault, and express sympathy. While there's nothing wrong with wanting emotional support, living in that space for too long can keep you stuck. Sympathy may soothe the heart for a moment, but it rarely fixes the root of the issue. If you constantly tell your problems to people who can only offer pity, you risk becoming dependent on emotional reassurance rather than taking real steps toward change. In Oshu, this can create a cycle where you talk about your difficulties over and over, but never actually move forward. In the end, you're left with the same problem, only now you've spent more time and energy discussing it instead of solving it. Focusing on solutions means being intentional about who you talk to and what you want from those conversations. Seek out people with experience, wisdom, or insight who can guide you toward practical actions. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to think differently, to explore options you haven't considered, and to take responsibility for the parts you can control. When you shift from sympathy seeking to solution seeking, you reclaim your power. You're no longer defined by your circumstances, you're defined by how you respond to them. And the truth is, people respect someone who actively works on their challenges far more than someone who only speaks of them. Solutions lead to progress. Sympathy, if overindulged, can lead to stagnation. One of the most uncomfortable truths about human behavior is that people are constantly forming opinions about each other, often without saying a word. Even when someone listens to your problems with a kind expression and reassuring nods, they may still be making silent judgments about your choices, your resilience, or your ability to handle life's challenges. This isn't always malicious. It's simply human nature. People naturally compare what they hear to their own standards, experiences, and values. But the reality is, these silent judgments can shape how they see you in ways you may never be aware of. They might start seeing you as less capable, more fragile, or even as someone who makes poor decisions. And once that perception takes root, it can influence how they treat you, from offering fewer opportunities to excluding you from important conversations. The more often you share your problems openly, the more opportunities you give others to form these quiet assessments. You may never hear their thoughts, but you might notice subtle changes, reduced trust in your abilities, less respect, or a shift in how they include you socially or professionally. It's important to remember that perception often matters as much as reality. You might be strong and resourceful, but if you constantly present yourself in moments of struggle, people may miss seeing your strengths altogether. Guarding your challenges and choosing your confidence carefully isn't just about protecting your privacy. It's about protecting the unspoken reputation others build of you in their minds. Silence is often misunderstood. Many see it as a sign of weakness, avoidance, or lack of confidence. But in reality, silence can be one of the most powerful responses you have, especially when dealing with personal struggles. It takes immense inner strength to endure challenges without broadcasting them to the world. When you choose silence, you take control of your story. You decide when, how, and if the world will ever know what you've been through. You avoid the noise of outside opinions, unnecessary criticism, or false sympathy that can cloud your thinking. Instead, you give yourself the space to process your emotions and make decisions based on clarity, rather than external pressure. Strength in silence is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about having the discipline to protect your mental and emotional energy until you're ready to act. It's about holding your ground without feeling the need to defend yourself or justify your struggles to anyone. People often mistake constant talking for action, but talking doesn't fix problems, focused effort does. In silence, you can work, heal, and grow without distraction. You can surprise people with your results instead of exhausting them, and yourself with the details of your process. And more often than not, those who can endure quietly are the ones others respect the most, because they demonstrate resilience without seeking applause or attention. Every problem you face comes with two possible paths. It can either break you down or build you up. The difference lies in how you choose to respond. When you use your problems as motivation, you shift your mindset from a "why is this happening to me?" to a "how can I use this to grow stronger?" Challenges have a way of revealing parts of ourselves we didn't know existed, hidden strengths, untapped creativity, and a level of determination we might never discover in times of comfort. Instead of letting a setback drain you emotionally, you can let it ignite a fire within you. Let the pain push you toward action, the frustration drive you toward change, and the difficulty inspire you to work harder than ever before. When you focus on turning obstacles into fuel, you stop seeing them as barriers and start viewing them as training grounds. Each problem becomes a lesson, each hardship a stepping stone, and each failure a teacher. Over time, the very things that once threatened to destroy you become the reasons you succeed. Using problems as motivation also shifts how others perceive you. Instead of being seen as someone crushed by life's challenges, you become someone who transforms adversity into achievement. People respect and remember those who refuse to be defined by their struggles and instead use them as catalysts for greatness. Emotions are powerful forces. When you're hurt, stressed, or frustrated, those feelings can either control you or be controlled by you. The difference lies in where you choose to direct them. Many people waste emotional energy by venting endlessly to others, revisiting the same problems again and again without moving any closer to a solution. While it might feel relieving in the moment, it often leaves you drained and stuck. Channeling emotions productively means taking all that mental and emotional intensity and putting it into actions that serve you. Instead of telling everyone about your struggles, you might write them down in a journal to gain clarity. Use physical exercise to release tension. Pray or meditate for inner peace, or pour your energy into a project or skill that moves your life forward. When you redirect your emotions into something constructive, you create progress where there was once only frustration. Not only does this help you regain a sense of control, but it also transforms negative energy into positive results. Anger can become determination. Sadness can become reflection and wisdom. Fear can become caution and preparation. This approach doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means respecting them enough to put them to work for you. Instead of letting emotions drag you backward, you can train them to push you forward. Over time, you'll realize that some of your best achievements were born from moments of struggle, simply because you decided to channel the storm within you into building something better. When we're in the middle of a problem, the urge to talk about it constantly can be overwhelming. We want to share the details, replay events, and seek reassurance from others. But what we often forget is that time itself can be a powerful healer if we allow it to work. Constantly discussing the same pain keeps it fresh in our minds, preventing the natural process of healing from taking place. Time has a way of softening sharp emotions. What feels unbearable today may feel lighter weeks or months from now, not because the situation magically disappears, but because your perspective changes. The distance between you and the problem allows your mind and heart to process it differently. The intensity fades, clarity grows, and sometimes you even realize the issue wasn't as catastrophic as it first seemed. Healing quietly means giving yourself permission to step back from the noise, both external and internal. It's allowing your emotions to settle without feeding them with constant conversation or external validation. This doesn't mean you're ignoring the problem. It means you're giving it space to shrink naturally over time. Some answers only reveal themselves in patience. The clarity you might desperately seek today often arrives in small, quiet moments, days, weeks, or even years later. By letting time do its work, you protect yourself from making impulsive decisions, saying things you'll regret, or involving people who might not have your best interests at heart. Peace of mind is one of the rarest and most valuable things you can have in life. It's the quiet feeling of being centered, unbothered, and free from unnecessary chaos. And once you have it, you begin to realize just how fragile it can be, how easily it can be disturbed by negativity, conflict, or the wrong people. When you share your problems with too many people, you open the door for opinions, judgments, and even drama to walk in. Suddenly, your private struggle becomes a public discussion, and instead of focusing on solving the issue, you find yourself managing reactions, defending your choices, or correcting misunderstandings. Every one of those distractions chips away at your inner calm. Protecting your peace means protecting your mental space from unnecessary noise. It means deciding that not every thought, feeling, or hardship deserves to be spoken aloud. It's choosing to keep certain matters within your own heart, or only sharing them with those who bring genuine clarity and comfort, not confusion and chaos. Your peace should be treated like a treasure, guarded, valued, and never traded for temporary relief. Once you let too many people into your personal matters, you risk losing the stability you've worked so hard to maintain. But when you protect it, you give yourself the freedom to think clearly, make better decisions, and navigate life without carrying the weight of everyone else's opinions. Yes. In the end, your life belongs to you, and not every chapter needs an audience. Protect your privacy. Choose your confidants wisely, and let your actions speak louder than your words. The fewer people who know your struggles, the more control you have over your story. And remember, true strength is not always in the battles you fight, but in the battles you fight quietly and win without needing the world to watch.